At what point is it fair and legitimate? I think of you as a very responsible activist and observer of the world. At what point is it fair to say, look, what you are doing is fomenting violence, in this case, violence directed against those who help women and women's health issues? At what point is it fair to say, look, it's not out of bounds to call you on this?
Well, honestly, Fox News, which is and Roger Ailes, a Republican operative who runs Fox News. And Fox News is the largest broadcasting arm of the Republican Party in my view, and so I don't actually include them when I think about media outlets. They are a communications outlet for a very specific political party and a very specific ideological agenda. The moment when media outlets should have said, "Hey, you're engaging in language that foments violence," would have been when Bill O'Reilly repeatedly referred to abortion provider George Tiller as "quote unquote" Tiller the killer, celebrating the murder of this man. Uh, Dr. Tiller was at his church. He was an usher at his church, and he was murdered on a Sunday morning at his church in Kansas by an individual who had been in touch with Operation Rescue, Troy Newman, and another leader of Operation Rescue. Operation Rescue is absolutely in the thick of the violent fringe of the anti-abortion movement, and Scott Roeder, who murdered Dr. Tiller, had been in touch with them in the days leading up to the murder. After the murder, Bill O'Reilly was on Fox cable television celebrating the killing of Dr. Tiller. That is a line that crossed decency by a country mile, and in fact, the Republican operative Roger Ailes never held Bill O'Reilly to account for it, as far as I know.
And what astonishes me about this on a human level, Terry O'Neill, is, look, I write for Huffington Post and a number of outlets myself, and you have cases where, for example, the killer of the Knoxville Unitarians had Bill O'Reilly's book on his shelf, had Sean Hannity's book on his shelf, had Goldberg's book on 100 People Who Are Destroying America, had said he was planning to work his way through the list of people on there. If somebody ever went out and hurt somebody, God forbid, and had been reading my stuff, I'd be devastated. I'd be racked with guilt. I'd, withdraw from public life and do deep soul searching and contrition. And these guys, and I'm talking about the Bill O'Reillys, the Sean Hannitys, the Carly Fiorinas, the Donald Trumps, they seem to be absolutely without conscience, and it frightens me.